Hey, what is going on, YouTube? Hey, Aaron here. We are back, ladies and gentlemen. Guys, it's Friday, and you know what that means. It is time for our Friday feature. We haven't had one in a couple weeks, and we actually have a lot of entries, so I appreciate the entries. We will be trying to do these a touch more consistently. You guys know I'm busy living life, though, but we've got a great one here for you today by Mr. Travis himself, a.k.a. I Love Bacon. Travis is a good guy. He's on that bro zone journey. He's just attacking life. So if you need you need some bro support make sure you guys hop in the Discord. But here we are on Warrior's Path, and Travis is in the Kagero. The Kagero is honestly one of those ships that's actually fairly strong. It was definitely one of the most complained about ships when the game first came out. Those Japanese torpedoes always hit hard. You couple that with some decent hitting guns. The reload is of course slow. And then, the concealment that the Japanese destroyers have to offer is always something that the Battleship mains will incessantly cry over. But here he is in the Kagero, and that's also something to bring up is, playing different ships and trying to get good games or just playing a different variety of ships is always something you should try to strive for, especially if, you're kind of like me and experiencing a little bit of boredom and the staleness that is Legends. But you will notice, and this is another one of those games, that that the enemy team just decides they don't want to operate heavy machinery. I hope they are not forklift certified in real life. That was an excellent dodge by Travis there from that Moss. He's playing a little bit of a risky game here, but it honestly, it works out for him. We know that the Moss has that hydro. He sees that the cruiser moving in, so it looks like he's going to push as well. He just smoked up to take a few shots on that Moss. Unfortunately, he went behind that island there, so he will not be able to, to get any more shots. But here he's assessing what he should do. Is the Moss going forward? And that is something that, if I've said it a few times, but use your torpedoes to tell the direction of another ship, especially with cruisers with torpedoes. Sometimes if a battleship or even battleships, any ship with torpedoes that you're trying to hit, with your guns, you can quickly switch to them. If it's a long-range shot, you can, adjust your shot accordingly. But Travis decides to take the ultra man play, and it actually works out pretty well for him. The Moss does hydro him, but Travis is going to get right around these islands here. He launches a set to see what this Moss is probably going to do, but he goes ahead and takes the path here. And yeah, this Moss is trapped. That cruiser's help, that cruiser on the other side does help Travis get, this Moss in this situation here. But Travis also does something that is a little bit more intelligent than most of the IJN player base. Is he's using his guns, right? He launches his torpedoes, but then he uses his guns. And it doesn't matter for this Moss, though. He got him with a torpedo track. Anytime you get hit with an IJN torpedo as a destroyer, it's probably not going to work out for you. Unfortunately, Travis is still detected by that Charles Martel. Like I said, this is a little bit of an aggressive position. When it works, it works. You feel like a Chad, but when it doesn't, it is certainly frustrating for sure. But Travis and his team have actually done a decent job of getting 2 enemy destroyers off of the board. But in typical Legends blue team fashion, his team is pretty much even that out by, allowing 2 of their own ships to die, one of which being a destroyer. And that is when Travis notices this Lion is very close, and that is actually a very dangerous threat to destroyers. Why? Because the Lion is actually one of the stronger battleships at Tier 7. It has the 406mm guns, and it has that British HE. So you get hit with a Lion or a Conqueror or a Temeraire or something like that as a destroyer, and he connects 2 or 3, 4 good shells, and you're definitely going to be feeling that on top of having to repair pretty much every module on your boat. There might be not a better feeling than dev striking a DD with a British battleship. But regardless of that, Travis is doing what he can for his team, shooting, of course, when he's going to be concealed there, launching torpedoes in the appropriate direction. And this is what we talk about with zoning torpedoes and just continually launching them, right? Travis does end up hitting a lot of torpedoes in this game, but he's already fired like 4 racks. So when you've got the reload and you're not, this is not a wasted torpedo. Like sometimes you'll see players launch torpedoes at like 30 kilometers. It's like, yeah, that's kind of a waste. But in this situation, he is putting torpedoes in the direction that multiple ships are in and are on course for, so definitely not a waste. But that is why the elite or the better players will have the lower torpedo accuracy, is because you'll throw them, you'll zone them, and of course the ships will potentially change course. But you're always throwing out torpedoes, because when you do get that hit, especially in an IJN ship, it's most likely going to be a flood, and it's probably going to hit for a lot of damage. If you're an IJN destroyer player and you don't hit torpedoes, and I'm not talking about suicide rushing a battleship in your Shima, I'm talking about actually hitting torpedoes like he does on that Charles Martel there, and that is 2 kills down. And we're still working here. Not that much damage, and I'm going to be honest, Travis actually doesn't get a whole lot of damage in this game, but he does at the end of this game, man. It is truly incredible how different your win percentage could be by simply using your brain. Here, though, he takes a very cheeky shot, which is actually a really good shot. Why? Because he does get the reset on this Bismarck here. That cap was over half capped, and one little cheeky shot between the island cover there allows him to get that defend ribbon, so the Bismarck cannot take that cap right away. So always paying attention to shots like that is, it's just going to, it shows that you are a better player. Here is another one, though, right over the island there. He takes that shot. Now, the Bismarck is getting shot by somebody else, so he actually doesn't get a defend ribbon. You have to accrue a few points there in order to get those that defend ribbon, sometimes with a faster firing cruisers, or, in this case, the cap is contested by the Richelieu, so no defend ribbons regardless. But I will notice sometimes I won't get defend ribbons. I'm like, why? And you have to wait for that battleship to gain a few points. Here he's getting a little close for comfort, but he wants to make sure he gets that kill. You can see that I truthfully haven't been paying attention to the mini-map and have no idea what his blue team is doing, but they're all dead. I mean, the red team as well, but Travis has had a huge, influence on that, smacking one of their destroyers and then hitting another cruiser with torpedoes. Here, the Bismarck does the classic battleship thing when you're in a destroyer, but because we talked about those hard-hitting IJN torpedoes, he connects one, and he actually does not get the kill for that Bismarck, but he would have. Sometimes somebody has a fire going and somebody has a flood, and when I'm playing, of course, or when you're playing, it always feels like the other player gets that kill, but we know it's sometimes whoever just gets that damage tick in the moment. If they have, let's say, 750 health and the fire ticks, 300, and then your flood ticks the remaining 450 or whatever, it's all dependent on who gets that last point of damage. But here, again, the Richelieu was actually in a decent position trying to defend that cap and utilize his French armor, but unfortunately he does go down to a few different ships there, and Travis pulls a pretty smart play trying to get a few cheeky shots on that that Yudachi, which is a dangerous ship. The Yudachi is basically a Kagero with a reload booster. Now, you can trade out your smoke on the Kagero for a reload booster, but the Yudachi gets access to both. And here, this lion actually takes a beautiful, beautiful blind fire. Travis was not detected for a few moments there, but it doesn't matter. Travis gets the last laugh as he put out a fantastic set of zoning torpedoes. Once again, we talk about not stacking your torps. A lot of players, a lot of IJN players especially, I always make fun of Shima players, I'm sorry, put out torpedoes, especially in the Shima, right? It is never a good idea to stack the torpedoes on top of each other. When you stagger the torps like that, and what I mean is you put one set left, one set right, you increase the surface area, and there, because Travis put one set ahead, he actually got the devastating strike on that lion. If you will notice, though, that lion actually got a massive salvo and destroyed one of Travis's torpedo tubes, which was a blind fire. That was an impressive blind fire by that that lion. Why do I keep saying lightning? But we talked about it earlier. Getting hit by a British battleship is definitely not something you want to be doing. Here, if I'm being honest, and we are critiquing a little, I would have been out of the smoke. Mainly because if the cap is contested, most likely the Massachusetts knows that a destroyer is in the cap. Although with the intelligence of this player base, I wouldn't put it past them not to know. So, yeah, Sometimes you just have to laugh, really, and again, hope that these people they're not crane operators. Shout out to Tuna Man for being a Chad crane operator. But here Travis gets his one set of torpedoes off. It actually does miss, and he's very close if he doesn't have that 4.9 concealment. And if we're being honest, 4.9 is too much. I think the max for any ship should be 5. Personally, I know that 100 meters isn't going to do much, but it's always IJN destroyer players, and I'm not picking on Travis here, but it's always those destroyer players that just rely on busted concealment to get in so close to battleships, and instead of relying on positioning a little bit better. But the same thing goes for cruiser players using rudder and getting overpenned, and battleship players just sitting at the back of the map, not utilizing their health. A lot of players, and this is probably why we notice bad destroyer play and bad battleship play far more than cruisers, and potentially, well, we do notice bad aircraft carrier play, but bad destroyer play and bad battleship play are so easy to notice, right? It's very easy to tell when someone is just a useless, just being a useless nub of a battleship player in the back of the map, or a useless destroyer player. But that is not what Travis is doing, as he gets another, just a gorgeous, ring of torpedoes for his 4th kill on the Massachusetts. Now, unfortunately, that Udachi is still alive. I don't know what happened to his team. Like, I watched this video twice already, trying to, you want to pick up things when you're narrating, but I don't know what happened to his team. There was 3 versus 2, and then all of a sudden it's a 1 versus 1. But Travis is going to work his way into the capture point here. And I didn't speed the video up, he did. So Travis, don't touch my video. I will do the editing, sir. Thank you. But I think he was just trying to get us through the boring parts, which is actually probably a little more helpful here, though, although sometimes it doesn't give the viewer an accurate description. So that is what happened. Travis fast forwarded. I don't know why he's doing it again. Travis, let me have my moment. But he worked his way into the B cap here, which is stopping the point influx, and you can see that his team is ahead. So a very smart play nonetheless. And because of that shot of the Lion, Travis probably can't win a gunfight unless that Udachi is a typical IJN player. And what we mean by that is he doesn't shoot his guns when he should. On top of that, Travis is missing a torpedo tube, so he will not be able to, stack the box. Destroyer fights are actually one of the times where you do want to, set torps, especially if you're in close on top of each other, so that way there are no gaps for the destroyer to get through. Here, I think Travis told me he was drinking because he runs into the island, and it unfortunately looks like the Udachi is going to get him. Travis is kind of stuck here. He gets the Confederate. The Udachi shoots his guns once, and then he doesn't really shoot them again. It could have been the reload, but he misses, and what was most likely happening is he was launching his torps. Travis backs in nicely. You got to love IJN players who throw a widespread in there. So a beautiful dodge by Travis and a gun kill on another IJN destroyer to finish the game with the Kraken, and an epic 41-02 score in the Kagero. Just a beautiful game, and that's one of those games that you'll probably have every 100 to 200 games of just the perfect storm of people who shouldn't operate heavy machinery, if we're being honest. But it sure does feel good when you get those games, and that's why we play the game. I know I just made a video this week and people just misconstrue it. It's like, well, if you don't like this game, just leave. And it's like, no, that's not what I'm saying. I really enjoy this game. I wish it was better, is what I was trying to say. But alas, you will never change the player base, and that's probably the biggest problem in this game sometimes. Anywho, you guys have a great Friday. You guys have a great Friday. You will see me on tonight. We'll be doing some member shenanigans, and then tomorrow, of course, we got to watch Ohio State. I might do that on stream, so maybe we might stream tomorrow night, but potentially not. So I hope you guys have a great weekend regardless. Make sure you guys are going out and attacking life, always getting after it, and yeah. I hope you guys enjoyed that one. AA run out. Peace.